The AoE IV technical stress test open beta is this weekend. So I've been playing a couple of games, and in this video I'm going to show you a nice little build order that will help get you up to feudal age at around like 410, 415, and allow you to do a little bit of a longbow rush, which if your opponent screws up can just more or less kill them. But it's not any sort of all-in build, it's just a nice little bit of a pressure build. So the basic build order is you put everything on sheep at the start. You have 6 starting villages plus the first one you create, and then you're going to make, with the next villager, you're going to make a house and then a mining camp, and you're going to put 2 villagers onto gold. So 7 on sheep, 2 on gold, and meanwhile, of course, you're going to be running around with your scout collecting sheep. So the way this works in this game is sheep on their own move very, very slowly, but they move quite fast when they're being guided by your scout. So you kind of run around, gather up sheep and drop them off at the TC. So unlike AoE 2, lumber is not as important early on because all the buildings just cost less lumber. You only pay 50 wood for these drop-off buildings. So there's even it's even possible to build those where you don't get any lumber at all in the first age. But since we're going to want to make longbows, we're going to need a lot of lumber in the second age. So we might as well get a little bit of lumber at the start. But we're only going to put 2 villages on lumber. And after that, we're just going to go more onto food, because we're going to need 400 food and 200 gold to click up. So our 2 gold villagers are going to give us those 200 gold, and then we're just going to put everything onto food so that we can get a quick uptime while still maintaining full villager production. Unlike other age games, aging up does not actually happen in your town center, but rather by building a landmark with your villagers, at least with the English. There's also other civs where that works a little bit differently, but for the English and for most civs, you build a special landmark building to get up to the next stage with your villagers. And the landmark building for the English, at least one of them, is actually also a production building for our longbows. So here at 15 supply, I'm going to go ahead and make our landmark with 5 food villages, and then I'll just put more onto food and onto wood. I'll only need 1 gold villager because we're not really making anything that costs gold at the start. You need perhaps some gold for upgrade, so I'm going to leave 1 on gold, but we're going to mostly need wood and food because we need food for our villagers, and then food and wood for our longbows. Unlike AoE 2, the basic archer units only cost wood and food, kind of reminiscent of Age of Empires 1. But unlike Age of Empires 1, these basic archer units also upgrade later on, and they're useful throughout the game. So there's not only early game units. And yeah, this is I think like a fairly tight build order. It's obviously not perfect. I've only played like, I don't know, a dozen games in multiplayer, and I tried out, build orders a couple of times against AI, because I've only been playing this game for like 1 day, so or less than 1 day actually. But this is what I've come up with so far, and I think this works quite well. So you can see we're gonna reach feudal, I think, at like 413, and it's not like a super optimized build, but it's fairly good. And from there you can make some longbows. You're probably not going to be able to quite keep up 100% production with the longbows, but we're going to be able to make quite a few, and especially against opponents that are not as experienced at this game yet, you're often going to be able to just surprise them with these very fast longbows. And the good thing about longbows as like a rush unit is that in this game, ranged units are very accurate. They automatically hit any sort of moving targets. You don't need ballistics or anything like that. It's not possible to dodge shots in this game. So kind of like it works in let's say the StarCraft games, not like in Age of Empires 2 where you can just dodge dodge projectiles. And this means that ranged units are like fully at full strength even at their maximum range. Behind this, I'm just getting like I want slightly more villagers on food than on wood because I'm spending a bit more food than wood, but I want like a nice balance. And I should have actually pulled off one of these gold villages. You don't need much gold just for upgrades a little bit, so I should have actually pulled one off. I think I'll pull one off a little bit later. Yeah, as I said, I'm also quite new to this game, so I have 3 archers now, and my opponent hasn't even started his landmark yet. That's definitely because my opponent is a bit inexperienced here. He should have already started it. And it should already be like finished at this point. So my opponent definitely making a mistake there, but obviously this is the beta. A lot of people are just new to the game, don't really know what to do, but as you can see, I'm doing lots of damage. But of course, even if my opponent is already in second age, I can still often get a villager pick or 2 and sort of run around. You don't really want to go into the TC fire, but you can sort of run around the TC, see if you can pick up some villagers. And yeah, here in this case, my opponent is just completely overwhelmed, and from then on out, it's a fairly easy game. The game goes on for like another 10 minutes or something, but it's pretty one-sided from here, so I'm not going to show you the entire thing. But yeah, after this opening, you can keep making longbows. So you probably don't want to go for pure longbow, because like pure archer units in this game are not as good as in AoE 2, because they don't necessarily counter infantry to the extent they do in AoE 2. You sort of kind of want to have a bit of a meat shield because it's kiting units is not as easy in this game. So you probably will make like a barracks, and depending what your opponent is making, add in either some man-at-arms if your opponent is also making infantry, or you add in some spears if your opponent is making cavalry, and your spears can sort of protect your archers, and you're going to be in good shape. And as I said, it's not an all-in build, this is just like a pressure build. You can just go ahead and add eco after this. You can tech up, or as I did in this game, I'm making some forward buildings, adding in some melee units. I'm a bit of a bit of problems with the rally points there, but I killed so many villagers and delayed his uptime so much that from here on out it's a fairly easy win. So it's just sort of a little bit of a brief guide here on how to play the English. I think English are actually probably the easiest civ to play, and I think that they're just fairly straightforward. So if you want to try out the beta, it's still available. You can just sign up either on the Microsoft site or on Steam, and just download the game and play for the rest of the weekend. And then I think the game comes out in about a month. So that's it for this little build order guide. And if you want to actually see me play some AoE 2 live, you can come to my stream at twitch.tv/Gunnarsson, where I'll be playing some AoE later tonight. And over this villing, I'll see you next time.